Welcome, Gregory. Welcome, Shay. How's audio, video, and connection? Thank you, Shay. All right. Hello, Karuna. Let's get started. Virupaka, oh no. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Virupakehi mi mettang mettang erapatehi me chabya putehi me mettang mettang kanha gotamakehi cha apadikehi me mettang mettang dvipadikehi me chatupadehi me mettang mettang bahupadehi me mamang apadiko hingsi mamang hingsi dvipadiko mamang chatupado hingsi mamang hingsi bahupado sabbe satta sabbe pana sabbe bhuta chakevala sabbe badrani passantu ma kanchi papanga gama appamano buddho appamano dhammo appamano sango pamanavantani sirim sappani ahi vichika sattapadi unanabi sarabu musika katame rakka katame paritta Patikam mantu buddhani sohang namo bhagavato namo sattanang samma sambuddhanang. Protection of loving friendliness. There is metta from me for the Virupakas, for the Airapatas, there is metta from me. There is metta from me for the Chabhyaputtas, for the Kanha Gautamakas, there is metta from me. For me, there is metta for those with no feet. For those with 2 feet, there is metta for me. For me, there is metta for those with 4 feet. For those with many feet, there is metta for me. May those with no feet not hurt me. May those with 2 feet not hurt me. May those with 4 feet not hurt me. May those with many feet not hurt me. May all beings, all those with life, may all beings who have become, all in their entirety, may all see what is good. May suffering not come to anyone. Infinite is the Buddha, infinite is the Dhamma, infinite is the Sangha. Finite are creeping things, snakes, scorpions, centipedes, spiders, lizards, and rats. I have made the protection, I have made the safeguard. May the harmful beings depart. I pay homage to the Sublime One, I pay homage to the 7 Buddhas. All right. Let's see. Hello, Kim. Welcome. Hello, Maria. All right, let's do our meditation, and we'll continue on with the rest of Dhammapalooza after that. So set your body up in whatever comfortable and stable position works for you. Start by doing a mindful scan of the body. Probably everybody here has heard my guided meditations many times, so I don't need to go in too much details. Start from the feet and move up to the head, understanding your posture, setting your body up in a comfortable and stable position that will lead to less pain and suffering as we sit for this period of time. Remember to pay close attention to those important hinge points like the pelvis, the angle of the pelvis. As you do this practice over years, you'll start to notice certain points of the posture are the biggest culprits for instability and the cause of backaches and issues while meditating. Whenever you're done setting up your body in that comfortable and stable position, let the body go, take your breaths. Then remember to observe and investigate the breath. Try not to control it. Remember to lay down your burdens. Take a break from carrying around that heavy backpack. Remember, acknowledge, let go, and return. Train your mind to abandon distractions and return to the breath over and over and over again. Remember to check in with the state of your mind every once in a while. Pay attention to the state of your mind. If you're becoming more calm or more agitated, etc. And as you go deeper into calm, start to pay more attention to the deeper, subtle characteristics of the breath. How the breath is changing, sometimes long and deep, sometimes short and shallow. Pay attention to the impermanence of the breath. Slowly start to open your eyes, exiting the meditation in a mindful and contemplative way. Welcome to those who joined during the meditation, Maria and Randy and Luisa. So welcome to Dhammapalooza, the festival of Dhamma with the Makaseka community that we have every Monday night. And we have been changing things up a little bit lately, trying to figure out kind of how Dhammapalooza will be going forward, and maybe perhaps a little bit more structure and different ways of doing things. And I thought, it came to me a little module, a little section um, that we can do every Dhammapalooza. And that's just maybe like a short 5-minute thing of me giving a kind of tip in terms of living the path, kind of like tips of the practice, that kind of stuff. And I don't know how long, I don't know if I'll be able to have 52 tips. We'll have to see as we go along. Um, but if you have any ideas for things that you'd like to, for me to give a tip on, you can always just send that to me. And if any kind of discussion arises from that, we can also have discussion and questions from that as well. But I think that would be a neat little thing to have as part of every Dhammapalooza. Just a little blurb, a little, almost like the thought of the day during the MMEs, but very, very specifically practice related. Like kind of tips and tricks and encouragements related to development of the practice. And so for the inaugural one, I think that I would give as a tip the importance of consistency. Right? Those of you who've been around me long enough, you've heard me talk about this many times. How, especially in the beginning of when you're developing a sitting practice, when you're developing a mindfulness practice, consistency is more important than length of time that you're doing the practice. It's more important than how many days of the week. It's more important than any of these other kind of more extraneous factors. Can you consistently sit every day, even if that sits just 5 minutes? Can you consistently remember to be mindful every day, even if it's only 5 or 6 times? Everything else will grow on its own as you are practicing over the years. Your mind will not fight you for time, thinking that what you're doing is a waste of time. As you do this, as you develop it as a habit and you continue to do it, and the mind starts to see benefits. So then the mind ranks it up as in priority. When the priority is there, you will find time. You will remember, right? Sati is not just mindfulness, it's recollection. Being able to recall what one has learned before, being able to remember to be mindful, to remember to practice. When the practice itself becomes more of a priority, because you start to see the benefits, your mind starts to see the benefits, then you will naturally want to practice more and practice longer. So don't worry about all of these things. Just worry about consistency. Did I sit down on the cushion today, even though if it was only for 10 seconds? I had to fight Mara the whole way, but I sat down and I only lasted 10 seconds in battle. Then I got back up and I left. Hey, you won, right? You charged ahead. You sat down. You didn't last very long, and that's okay. Then the next day you try a little bit longer, maybe. But the consistency is so important. The most important trait of practice is that consistency. So I think that is um, the gist of this practice tip for today. As I said, I think this is something good to have for every Dhammapalooza. Just a short thing. Now, if people have questions or that turns into a discussion, that's fine. If not, also fine, because we are also going through the Majjhima Nikaya. So um, we, if we have time, we always read a sutta. That's no problem. But Dhammapalooza has always been about kind of having a wide variety of activities. And also, Dhammapalooza has always kind of been about it's community guided, which means that who knows what's going to happen. And I think, that was good for its time. But these days, I think maybe a little bit more structure or a little bit more things to do is important, right? We developed the sutta roulettes and the word roulettes and things like that. So there's lots of different sections, modules, however you want to call it, that we can do for each Dhammapalooza. Kim giving already some recommendations. Hello, Richard. Yeah, and these tips can be, I mean, there is a lot of things. There are a lot of tips to be had when it comes to the totality of the path. So there's lots of angles and lots of topics that we can go. So I will say, if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them before we get into the sutta. Here we go. Bill asks, when you say consistency, do you mean sitting in the same time, same place? Or is it a little bit more free? Lately, I'm struggling to sit, so I lay down. The time and place helps to anchor the consistency, but doesn't necessarily need to have those specific time and places. Right? Especially if you're doing a mindfulness practice, if you're developing satipatthana, there's no time and place. It's every time in every place. Right? Right. So you don't have the kind of luxury of the help of being anchored down at I'm going to go into my meditation room. So I have a location I'm going to do it, and I'm going to try it at this time every day. Like those kind of help with building the habit for sure, for sure. But that's kind of much more specific to sitting meditation than any of the other practices. Yeah. So if if you get your 5 minutes of meditation in on a break in a car at a convenience store, you got it in. It's like you got your 5 minutes in. That's consistency. And that's kind of how my career was. My career was I was always moving. So if I counted on doing something in the office every day, that you can never count that. So because who knows if I was going to be in the office that day? I don't know. The basic start of the day is okay. I'm going into the office, And then, 10 minutes, an hour into it, I could be out until 10 o'clock that night. That was the nature of my job. So I kind of adapted and developed, uh, in that milieu, in that experience. And there was always, part of my job, I was always stopping at, and on the East Coast, we have all these kind of super convenience stores like Wawa's and Sheets and things like that, where you can go and you can get a meal and you can get gas and you can, sit around, hang out, and all that kind of stuff. I would hang out at those places all the time before I had to go to a house, so I'd just be sitting, and sometimes just, okay, let me just spend a few minutes to watch my body, follow my breath, you know, that kind of stuff. So I'm just writing down the things that Kim said. Seven-Eleven nudity. Yeah, this some of the 7-Elevens are like that now these days as well. Uh, but on the East Coast, it's Wawa in the north and Sheets in the south. Basically the same, two different companies. But yeah, those are places to good grounds, good fertile grounds for meditation practice. You're hanging out. All right. Why don't we read sutta as we go through the Majjhima Nikaya? Majjhima Nikaya number 6. One might wish. I was like, yeah, that's pretty big. All right. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying at Savatthi in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. A beautiful place. There the Buddha addressed the mendicants. Mendicants, venerable sir, they replied. The Buddha said this: mendicants, live by the ethical precepts in the monastic code. Live restrained in the monastic code, conducting yourselves well and resorting for alms in suitable places. Seeing danger in the slightest fault, keep the rules you've undertaken. A mendicant might wish, may I be liked and approved by my spiritual companions, respected and admired, So let them fulfill their precepts. Be committed to inner serenity of the heart, not neglect. So let them fulfill their precepts, be committed to inner serenity of the heart, not neglect absorption, be endowed with discernment, and frequent empty huts. So we see this uh, thing here in the suttas in a bunch of different places. One might wish. So the Buddha is saying, this cannot be had by wishing. If you wish something to happen, well, do create the causes and conditions for it to happen, for it to arise. So the idea here is that, as we understand in Buddhism, things just don't happen for no reason. They don't happen magically. Nothing does not come out of, or something does not come out of nothing. If it did, then it would go against anicca, viparinama, and paticca samuppada. Impermanence, rise and fall, and when this arises, that arises. So if you wish something to be, well, create the causes and conditions for that to arise. So if you want to be approved by your spiritual companions, well, be a virtuous person, right? Don't neglect meditation. Now, other people might lie and cheat and try to make sure that their reputation is good. But still, most people, intuitive people, attentive people, will know that this person's faking it. They're full of BS. And so there really won't be this kind of open-hearted respect and admiration. There'll always be a little bit of a untrustworthiness. So that's all, you can't get away for faking it for too long, or trying to control it so that none of your bad deeds come to the fore. Right? So if you want to be well approved, liked and approved by your fellow people, well, act in such a way that that will naturally arise in a skillful way. A mendicant might wish, may I receive robes, alms, food, lodgings, and mendicants and supplies for the sick. So let them fulfill their precepts, be committed to inner serenity of heart, not neglect jhana, and be endowed with discernment and frequent empty huts. And again, this is actually from lay people. All right, the mendicant might wish, may I always make sure I get my requisites. Well, be ethical and practice well. A mendicant might wish, may the services of those whose robes, alms, food, lodgings, and medicines and supplies for the sick I enjoy be very fruitful and beneficial for them. So let them fulfill their precepts. This is actually a very beautiful wish. May those people who support me, may they have the maximum benefit from their support. That's a wonderful wish. But again, the onus is on you, because the Buddha says that the higher, awakened a being is, the more the deed is meritorious. If you're a very good, skillful monk, then that will benefit them in their giving to you. So, in this case, it's even put on you. Right? It's like, oh, you want them to benefit the most? Well, you got to put in the work. Be better. A mendicant might wish, when deceased family and relatives who have passed away recollect me with a confident mind, may this be very fruitful and beneficial for them. So let them fulfill their precepts. That's you. You fulfill your precepts. Basically, it's shortening exactly what was said before. A mendicant might wish, may I prevail over desire and discontent, and may desire and discontent not prevail over me. May I live having mastered desire and discontent whenever they arose, so let them fulfill their precepts. Desire and discontent have a cause. They don't arise from anywhere, from nowhere. So you practice the Dhamma and the Vinaya, and you gain wisdom into that cause. May a mendicant might wish, may I prevail over fear and dread, and may fear and dread not prevail over me. We just did that 2 Dhammapalooza ago. Majjhima Nikaya number 4, fear and dread. May I live having mastered fear and dread whenever they arose, so let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I get the 4 jhanas, blissful meditations in this life that belong to the higher mind, when I want, without trouble or difficulty, so let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I have direct meditative experience of the peaceful liberations that are formless, transcending form. This is the arupa attainment. Some people mistakenly call them the arupa jhanas, the formless jhanas. They're not the formless jhanas, they are the formless attainments. Buddha never calls them jhanas. There are only 4. A mendicant might wish, may I, with the ending of the 3 fetters, become a stream enterer, not liable to be reborn in the underworld, bound for awakening. So let them fulfill the precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I, with the ending of 3 fetters and the weakening of greed, hatred, and delusion, become a once returner, coming back to this world once only, then making an end of suffering. So let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I, with the ending of the 5 lower fetters, be reborn spontaneously and become extinguished there, not liable to return from that world. So let them fulfill their precepts. By the way, if you do have questions as we're going along, feel free to put them in the chat. I do check the chat every couple of minutes or so as I'm reading through a sutta. A mendicant might wish, may I wield the many kinds of psychic powers, multiplying themselves and becoming one again, appearing and disappearing, going unobstructed through a wall or a rampart or a mountain, as if through space, diving in and out of the earth as if it were water, walking on water as if it were earth, flying cross-legged through the sky like a bird, touching and stroking with my hand the sun and moon, so mighty and powerful, controlling the body as far as the realm of divinity. So let them fulfill the precepts. What is Bhante Sujato? I'm just checking out the note there real quick. And again, this is interesting because in most places, the Buddha actually basically does not encourage any of the monks to actually strive to attain the siddhis, right? These psychic powers, because they're not conducive to the ending of suffering. They're kind of like a side effect, right? You don't need them at all. And you can kind of get sidetracked with them. It's better not to worry about them. You don't want to try to have craving towards them to try to attain them, etc. But the Buddha is saying, if you really want them, well, this is what you have to do. A mendicant might wish, with clairaudience that is purified and superhuman, may I have both kinds of sounds, hear both kinds of sounds, humanly and heavenly, human and heavenly, whether near or far. So let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I understand the minds of other beings and individuals, having comprehended them with my mind. May I understand a mind with greed as a mind with greed. A mind without greed is a mind without greed. And this is in the suttas when the power of being able to understand people's minds, this is what is said about that. Nowhere is it really said that people can understand the contents of your mind, like they can hear your thoughts. But they can understand, oh, this person's full of lust. And then they can pretty much guess what's probably in the mind. Or this person's full of hatred. This mind is full of hatred, etc., etc. Um, you know, may I understand a mind with greed as a mind with greed, a mind without greed is a mind without greed. A mind with hate is a mind with hate, and a mind without hate is a mind without hate. Mind with delusion is a mind with delusion. A mind without delusion is a mind without delusion. Constricted mind as constricted mind. Scattered mind as scattered mind. Expansive mind as expansive mind. This is the Mahagada. This is the same when we do the expansive or exalted release of mind through metta. Right, that expansive release of mind where we start from ourselves and then building, town, country, earth, galaxy, when we go right, that's Mahagada Cheto Vimutti. So this is the same word, an expansive mind. An unexpansive mind is unexpansive. Mind that is not supreme as mind that is not supreme, and mind that is supreme is mind that is supreme. Mind immersed in samadhi is mind immersed in samadhi, and mind not immersed in samadhi is mind not immersed in samadhi. Freed mind is freed mind, and unfreed mind is unfreed mind. So let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I recollect many kinds of past lives. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000, 100,000 rebirths, many eons of the world contracting, many eons of the world expanding. Many eons of the world contracting and expanding. May I remember, there I was named this. My name was that, and I looked like this, and that was my food. So just to give you an understanding of when this, they say here, the world is contracting and the world is expanding. This is essentially, this is an eon. So this is essentially the whole lifetime of a universe. Right? In the Buddhist cosmology, there's basically like a big bang and then a collapse. It's like a expansion, collapse, expansion, collapse, expansion, collapse. And these we see that you see this in the suttas in many different places. Usually in terms of talking about seeing things or the lifetime of certain types of beings, etc. Like the lifetime of a being who has attained the highest formless attainments, and then you die and you're born because of that, is something like 84,000 eons. Just like universes just being created and going through whole life cycles, and you're just kind of chilling as this basically mind only being. That's interesting. And in some suttas, the Buddha actually explains how when the world is contracting, when it's coming to an end, before it's born and expands again, there's no places for beings to be born. So they're essentially all born in like heaven realms, hell realms, etc. And then once that universe expands out again, then you can be born in these different places once more. This is how I felt pleasure and pain, and that was how my life ended. When I passed away from that place, I was reborn somewhere else. There too, I was named this, my clan was that, I looked like this, and that was my food. This was how I felt pleasure and pain, and that was how my life ended. When I passed away from that place, I was reborn here. May I thus recollect my many kinds of past lives with features and details. So let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, with clairvoyance that is purified and superhuman, may I see sentient beings passing away and being reborn, inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, in a good place or a bad place, and understand how sentient beings are reborn according to their deeds. These dear beings did bad things by way of body, speech, and mind. They denounced the noble ones, they had wrong view, and they chose to act out of that wrong view. When their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a place of loss, a bad place, the underworld, hell. These dear beings, however, did good things by way of body, speech, and mind. They never denounced the noble ones, they had right view, and they chose to act out of that right view. When their body breaks up after death, they're reborn in a good place, a heavenly realm. And so, with clairvoyance that is purified and superhuman, may I see sentient beings passing away and being reborn, inferior and superior, beautiful and ugly, in a good place or a bad place. And may I understand how sentient beings are reborn according to their deeds. So let them fulfill their precepts. A mendicant might wish, may I realize the undefiled freedom of heart and freedom from by wisdom in this very life, and living having realized it with my own insight due to the ending of defilements. So let them fulfill their precepts, be committed to inner serenity of heart, not neglect jhana, be endowed with discernment, and frequent empty huts. Mendicants live by the ethical precepts and monastic code, live restrained in the monastic code, conducting yourselves well and resorting to alms in suitable places, seeing danger in the slightest fault, keep the rules you've undertaken. That was what I said, and this is why I said it. That is what the Buddha said. Satisfied, the mendicants approved of what the Buddha said. All right. We are in the final half hour of Dhammapalooza, so we can cover any questions there might be. If there's no questions, then we can maybe do some sutta games before we read some Dhammapada and call it a night. One of the good things of having specific sections is that we can clip them like I do with morning monastery experience in the morning. Sometimes my little thought of the day, I think, oh, that was really good. I should clip that and make it a little video. And so I have a whole playlist of, um, you know, thought of the days from morning monastery experience. All right. The only person who has anything to say is our friend Beginner's Guide. Everybody else is silent. So why don't we do a Sutta Roulette game? Let's do Anguttara Nikaya. I'll share screen. So, a number between 1 and 11 in 3, 2, 1, go. For those of you who are watching this for the first time, either live or in the future after it's done and recorded, the way this works is we choose two numbers. And that number determines what sutta we're going to read. So this is a way to randomly read suttas. And it's also a way for people to kind of get to learn how to navigate the suttas as well. All right, so Karuna comes in with 9. So there are 11 books in the Anguttara Nikaya. So what we're going to do is go down to book 9, the Book of Nines. First 50 and second 50. So thank you everybody else for joining in. Now, a number between 1 and 50 in 3, 2, 1, go. It's okay, beginner's guide. I didn't tell. Karuna got it first the last time, so whoever, we'll see who's next. 27. Kim comes in with a 27. So, first 50. So we're looking at Anguttara 9, 1 to 10, 11 to 20. Chapter on the abodes of sentient beings. So 27, correct? Yes. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27. Dangers and threats. These will probably be short. Maybe we'll read both. A householder who has eliminated the perils that come with breaking the 5 precepts and possesses the 4 factors of stream entry is freed from lower rebirths. This is interesting. This is we're almost done on Sutta Monday's Sunday night readings with the Anguttara Nikaya, and this topic has been a major part of the section we're in, the 4 factors of stream entry. So, dangers and threats. Then the householder Anathapindika went up to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, Householder, when a noble disciple has quelled the 5 dangers and threats and has the 4 factors of stream entry, they may, if they wish, declare themselves. I finished with rebirth in hell, the animal realm, the ghost realm. I finished with all places of loss, bad places, the underworld. I am a stream enterer. I'm not liable to be reborn in the underworld and am bound for awakening. What 5 dangers and threats have they quelled? Anyone who kills living creatures creates dangers and threats both in this life and in lives to come, and experiences mental pain and sadness. Anyone who refrains from killing living creatures creates no dangers and threats, either in this life or in lives to come, and doesn't experience mental pain and sadness. So that danger, that and threat is quelled for anyone restrained from killing living creatures. Anyone who steals, commits sexual misconduct, who lies, who consumes beer, wine, and liquor, intoxicants, creates dangers and threats both in this life and lives to come, and experiences mental pain and sadness. Anyone who refrains from consuming beer, wine, and liquor, intoxicants, creates no dangers and threats either in this life or in lives to come, and doesn't experience mental pain and sadness. So that danger and threat is quelled for anyone who refrains from consuming beer, wine, liquor, and intoxicants. These are the five dangers and threats that they have quelled. What are the four factors of stream entry that they have? It's when a noble disciple has experiential confidence in the Buddha. Now keep in mind, this is not sutta. Sutta, which is more in line with you can somewhat confidence, but more faith. This is this actually is also right. Absolute faith, perfect clarity, experiential confidence is how Bhante Sujato translates this. So that blessed one is perfected or fully awakened Buddha, accomplished. This is what they have experiential confidence in. That blessed one is perfected, a fully awakened Buddha, accomplished in knowledge and conduct, holy, knower of the worlds, supreme trainer of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, enlightened and blessed. They have experiential confidence in the teaching. The teaching is well explained by the Buddha, apparent in this present life, immediately effective, inviting, inspection, relevant so that sensible people can know it for themselves. They have experiential confidence in the Sangha. The Sangha of the Buddha's disciples is practicing the way that's good, sincere, systematic, and proper. It consists of the four pairs, the 8 individuals. This is the Sangha of the Buddhist disciples that is worthy of offerings, dedicated to the gods, worthy of hospitality, worthy of religious donation, worthy of greeting with joined palms, and is the supreme field of merit for the world. And a noble disciple's ethical conduct is loved by the noble ones, unbroken, impeccable, spotless, and unmarred, liberating, praised by sensible people, not mistaken, and leading to immersion. These are the four factors of stream entry that they have. When a noble disciple has quelled these five dangers and threats and has these four factors of stream entry, they may, if they wish, declare themselves. I've finished with rebirth in hell, the animal realm, the ghost realm. I've finished with all places of loss, bad places, the underworld. I am a stream enter. I am no longer liable to be reborn in the underworld and am bound for awakening. All right, that's very nice. Hello, Rick. Let's see. I think we can do one more before we do our Dhammapada and then call it a night. All right. So, number between 1 and 11. And 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Shay comes in first. Quick draw. Okay, so we're in the book of tens. A number between 1 and 50 in 3, 2, 1, go. John comes in with a 42. Oh, Karuna's 43. Well, that's interesting. Very close in number. 42. So, 10, the chapter on abuse. 1041, 1042. The roots of arguments. Sir, how many roots of arguments are there? Upali, there are 10 roots of arguments. What 10? It's when a mendicant explains what is not the teaching as the teaching. What is the teaching is not the teaching. They explain what is not the training as the training, and what is the training as not the training. They explain what was not spoken and stated by the realized one as spoken and stated by the realized one. And what was spoken by the realized and stated by the realized one as not spoken and stated by the realized one. They explain what was not practiced by the realized one as practiced by the realized one, and what was practiced by the realized one as not practiced by the realized one. They explain what was not prescribed by the realized one as prescribed by the realized one, and what was prescribed by the realized one as not prescribed by the realized one. The roots of arguments. These are the 10 roots of arguments. So you can imagine, basically things said in ignorance. Every one of these is wrong. You can imagine that would cause a bunch of arguments and a bunch of misconceptions and trying to figure things out. What about the roots of arguments 2? Sir, how many roots of arguments there are? Upali, there are 10. What 10? So we're covering 42 and 43. It's when a mendicant explains what is not an offense as an offense and what is an offense as not an offense. They explain a light offense as a serious offense and a serious offense as a light offense. They explain an offense committed with corrupt intention as an offense not committed with corrupt intention, and an offense not committed with corrupt intention as an offense committed with corrupt intention. They explain an offense requiring rehabilitation as an offense not requiring rehabilitation, an offense not requiring rehabilitation as an offense requiring rehabilitation. They explain an offense with redress as an offense without redress, and an offense without redress as an offense with redress. These are the 10 roots of arguments. Boy, that would cause a lot of trouble. That would certainly cause a lot of trouble in the monastic sangha. all the misconceptions. All right. Let's share screen, do Dhammapada, and then call it a night. We are in the Sukhavagga, happiness. Happy indeed we live. This section actually is what actually, I think, clinched it for me in terms of liking Bhante Buddharakkhita's translation of Dhamma. And this is not the current Buddharakkita in Uganda. This is a long passed away Sri Lankan Bhante. And also, I've been told by multiple people that this is probably the most accurate translation. So this is the one that I use here. But I love how he has translated, especially this section. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the hostile. Amidst hostile men we dwell free from hatred. Happy indeed we live, friendly amidst the afflicted by craving. Amidst afflicted men we dwell, free from affliction. Happy indeed we live, free from avarice amongst the avaricious. Amidst avaricious men we dwell, free from avarice. Happy indeed we live, we who possess nothing. Feeders on joy we shall be, like the radiant gods. One of my favorite lines in probably all of the Dhammapada. It's like that is a call. This is how you should be. Anyway, continuing on. Victory begets enmity. The defeated dwell in pain. Happily the peaceful live, discarding both victory and defeat. There is no fire like lust and no crime like hatred. There is no ill like the aggregates of existence, and no bliss higher than the peace of Nibbana. Hunger is the worst disease, conditioned things the worst suffering. Knowing this is, as it really is, the wise realize Nibbana, the highest bliss. Health is the most precious gain, and contentment the greatest wealth. A trustworthy person is the best kinsman. Nibbana is the highest bliss. Having savored the taste of solitude and peace, pain-free and stainless he becomes, drinking deep the taste of the bliss of truth. Good it is to see the noble ones. To live with them is ever blissful. One will always be happy by not encountering fools. Indeed, he who moves in the company of fools grieves for longing. Association with fools is ever painful, like partnership with an enemy. But association with the wise is happy, like meeting one's own kinsman. Therefore, follow the noble one, who is steadfast, wise, learned, dutiful, and devout. One should follow only such a man who is truly good and discerning, even as the moon follows the path of the stars. Hello, Visaka. Welcome. And yes, it was beautiful. I quite love that section. I think my favorite Dhammapada sections are Sukhavagga and Sasavaga, maybe it's called, the thousands. Happiness in the thousands. Those are probably my two favorite sections. And both are related to how you should live and practice. So it's very good. Okay. So let us do closing out. So friends, we come to the end of another Dhammapalooza. So if this is your first time watching this and you'd like to learn more about myself or the organization I'm helping to build with friends called Magga Seka, Student of the Path, you can go to the website listed on the screen, maggaseka.org. That is my headquarters. All news, all information, all articles, etc., is all to be found there, and all the links to social media and YouTube, etc., all to be found there. So you can go there to learn more. All right. Go in peace, my friends. Elisa. That reminds me, probably just because I've heard it probably hundreds of times. But at the end of Mass growing up will be go in peace to love and serve the Lord. That's what I remember growing up in Catholicism. All right. Let me share screen. Dukkha patta chani dukkha, bhaya patta chani bhaya, sokha patta chani sokha, hantu sabbe pipaniyo, etavata chamehi, sampatang punya sampatang, sabbe deva anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya, akasata chabumata, deva naga mahidika, punyam tang anumoditva, charangra kantu sasanang. May the suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May beings inhabiting space and may all beings share this merit of ours that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas, nagas, and yakas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sad, sad, sad. All right, friends. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy and at ease. Practice well and be well. May you have a spiritually successful and peaceful practice until we meet again, which, if I'm alive tomorrow morning, could be tomorrow morning for morning monastery experience every morning during the week, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. New York time for a half hour, or maybe insight timer session Saturday afternoon, or perhaps Sunday night on the Discord, reading the suttas together as a community, as we've been doing for 9 years. Or if I'm alive, all the way until next Monday night for another Dhammapalooza. Have a good week.